Last week, I was sitting on my couch with the moderators of Dental Nachos, otherwise known as my children, doing dad stuff, doing nacho stuff, checking my office. And I got a message on Facebook that said, Paul, can I talk to you later today? I get a lot of these messages. And usually it's not about something super fun, not being paid at their job, have an injury, have something going on in their dentisting lives that makes them want to cry on the inside or the outside. Now, when you get those, can we talk messages? They always say, oh, what does this person want to talk about? So I said, hey, could you give me a topic? I can create some time tomorrow afternoon. And this person said to me the most awesome thing. I really just wanted to call and thank you. I didn't think it was appropriate on Facebook Messenger. I just wanted to say it to you voice to voice. I said, awesome. So I called this person the next day and he said to me, I really appreciate you pushing me out of my comfort zone and pushing me to take a job that was a better fit for me. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it, but it's worked out great. And I'm glad I did it. So this awesome dentisting nachoer had a good job, but had a great opportunity to grow his career, take the next step. But he wasn't sure if he should take that next step. And I said, I think you should take it. You're ready for it. Everything in life comes with some good parts and some challenging parts, but I think you're ready. And he said, because of you, encouraging me, kindly annoying me to do that, I took that next step. So that's what I'm proud of. I am proud of this. I get up every day and want to do this for dentists, for people, for my team, for patients, for myself. And that is, if it does not help, it does not matter. So welcome to Business and Leadership Toppings with Dr. Nacho and key resources and sponsors. We have so many awesome key resources and sponsors that support our group and have amazing things that can help you increase your success, decrease your stress, and do the thing we all want to do less of, cry on the inside or outside parts of our body, feel more like this. So you're going to hear from amazing people, and I encourage you to JFO. What does that mean? Not what you think. Just find out. What I say, test, don't guess. Just take the demo. I know it's hard to embrace new ideas, but you're going to hear from people who have helped dentists just like you, people just like you, embrace new ideas, protect themselves, prepare themselves, and aware themselves. So I'm so thrilled to have this amazing panel today. I want to welcome my first guest up, Dr. Zawadi, to our show here. And I want to ask Dr. Zawadi when he gets up here, a story of help, a story of who has his company, who has he helped, what kind of impact has he made on somebody's life when they've needed that help. So I'm ready for Dr. Zawadi whenever he's ready to show his Zoom self. Welcome, Dr. Zawadi. You seem like you're right in the moment there, being a medical doctor. We'll find out about that in a minute, but I'm ready for your story of help.
Thank you so much for having me here, Paul, and thank you to you Nacho Warriors out there. Your group is known to be very engaging and absolutely smart and knowledgeable on the kind of triggers that can be most helpful to your population. Now, I'm an anesthesiologist. I'm an interventional pain specialist in Atlanta, Georgia. And my company is Doc to Doc Lending. We're a group of physicians that started our company by raising money from other doctors to open a fund that can offer personal loans to doctors across the spectrum that need access to capital at terms that are fair based upon where they are in their life cycle. So the story of help that I'll offer up, it's a few weeks ago, we had a young dentist who had just graduated, had been associating for some time, and complained about kind of the pathway to associating, where due to high student loan burden and kind of the kind of debt roller coaster and having a significant amount of credit card debt, needed to borrow about $380,000 to purchase the practice, to purchase into a practice. With that loan that he was getting from a large banking institution, he had to have a portion of it, 10% in capital that he had to personally show. And he also had another $34,000 in credit card debt that was dragging his FICO score down. So what Doc to Doc does that's unique and different for dentists is we underwrite our loans not just based on FICO score. We look at where you're headed in your career trajectory. We're able to tell that dentists, because you're going to have a stable career that's recession proof for the most part, that you'll make good on your payments. And we've seen that healthcare practitioners don't default on their debt obligations. And so we're able to offer financing at cheaper terms on a personal loan. So we were able to get him the $64,000 to refinance his credit cards and to have the cash to show for that larger loan. And it's been great from there. We've had other dentists that were going through and doctors going through things like fertility treatments. Yeah. And we got the note from this physician telling us, showing us the ultrasound scan of the embryo there. And so we're here to help. You'll speak to a doctor partner on our team.
And Roddy, I love those stories, and I've loved interviewing you and your team as newest sponsor. And what I like to share, it's always about the right move, the right time for the right person. As a pain specialist, as a dentist, we have treatment plan options for people that, some people maybe modifying their exercise schedule will help with, being healthier. Other people may need medication. What I always say, it's all about the options, and we're going to dig in deeper with you, but I do want to ask a question. So there's people out there, money can be a very emotional topic. So can people still use a credit union against Dr. Doc? Can they look at other options? Is there ways for you to bring awareness on how money works in their early career? Is that part of what you guys do too?
Absolutely. So when you apply online, you get an approval within hours. Awesome. But then we call you on the phone, and that's the most important part to your question, Paul. You'll speak to a member of our team that'll say, our loan is not the right product for you. If you got a HELOC today, the rates are going to be 2.7%. If you got an equipment financing loan where they use the equipment as collateral, the rate will be 3.17%.
Gotcha.
Do not borrow from us for this. If you have a scenario that fits into our wheelhouse, we'll be able to to be helpful there.
And I talk about That's So Dentist, which is sometimes dentists' overwhelmingly ability to see the negative in a positive situation. We're special, like our grandmother said, but also What's So Dentist too is giving people treatment plans. We see all the time, a crown will fit here, an implant will fit here. This isn't the right. I have patients come in and we say, I want to remove all of my teeth. I said, that's not the right fit for you. I know you're emotionally upset that you've had to do all this work, but your teeth are way too healthy to be removed at that time. So I'm thrilled to have you guys on the Nacho Plate. I want to share on our end, you can text Doc to 215-543-6454 to learn more, to JFO, just find out from our key resource and sponsor. But Jawadi, I also want to share, how can people reach out to you guys directly? If they're watching this, they want to reach out to Doc.
Sure. It's doc2doclending.com. Awesome. On our website, we've got a chat feature that's manned by an army of folks that then directed to a doctor on our team. Cool. So we'll call you. We have these conversations day in and day out. And we work after hours as well. So our schedule is your schedule. So we're talking Saturdays, Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern time or noon Pacific time, whenever it works for your audience.
Love that, Jawadi. I mean, our message at Dental Nachos is dentists helping dentists. You guys are doctors helping doctors. Finally, being a dentist has made us specifically special. If you have a DMD or DDS, you can get help, get that financial life preserver, feel where it fits. So I really appreciate it, Jawadi. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So as you guys can see, this is what business and leadership toppings is all about. Toppings that can help you, toppings that may be the right fit for you at this time of your life. So now I have the awesome Michael Daniel up. And Michael, tell us a story of help with what you guys do in this dentisting world.
What's going on, Dr. Paul? Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's always an honor to be on with you and the Nachos community. I'm so happy that I'm going on after Dr. Jawadi. He made a point that I was like, that's like exactly what I want to say as well. So Michael Daniel, I run a team of dental supplies ninjas. We at DC Dental, we are at our core a dental supplier. We stock and provide and we ship 40,000 items every single day. Okay, dental items, stuff like composite cement, you name it. Okay, especially during the pandemic. There's stuff that is either on shortage, there's always issues, there's always annoyances, and where do I get gloves, and how come I can't get this, and So very often we get questions that indeed either could be, we just don't have the stuff, or we can ignore the email or whatever it is, or you can ignore the communication. We don't do that. We don't, we try to empathize. How would I feel if I was in your shoes? I would want an answer. For example, and I think I may have shared this with your team before, we had a doctor up in New York who had an issue. He had an expired emergency kit, and he was freaking out because a new emergency kit was going to cost $1,200, some very almost an extravagant number. And he was like, hey, I just need an EpiPen, and I just need an EpiPen. I think I need some tetracycline or nitroglycerin. Is that what it is? Anyway, I just
That's
need,
what we got. Yes.
they're expired. What do I do? I look in our system, and for whatever reason, there's weird stuff going on in the pharma industry. It's not available, or it's too expensive. I said, listen, doctor, we don't stock these anymore. But I said, I'll call you back. So what I did is I looked at the guy. I looked at the Google Maps. I found out where the guy is. I Googled the pharmacies in his area, and I called up a couple of them. I called the pharmacy. I said, listen, do you guys stock, EpiPens? Do you stock nitroglycerin? Yeah, sure. What does a doctor need to do to get the nitro and to get EpiPen? Well, just write a prescription. Great. Call the doctor back and say, listen, the CVS around the block confirmed. I gave him the address. They have the stuff. Write a script, get the stuff. We do this. We're very proud to say that we do this all the time. We have.
That's so awesome, Michael. I want to jump in and share because I appreciate you. Supplies. We didn't think we'd be in a spot where we would not have enough gloves, but here we are. Feels like this inside. Okay. So this is what we do every day. So whether you're somebody who's on Zoom every day and your Zoom goes down, it's a big problem for your organization. So when you can do that for a dentist, and it might seem not that big of a deal to you, but it's a huge deal to that dentist. They remember you forever. And I tell dentists, that's like when you see a patient for an emergency at 5 o'clock to smooth off a sharp tooth. It's no big deal to you. They remember you forever. So helping people in an emergency break glass type of situation is so key. It also just shows your human side, because there was no book you read to do that, Michael. There was no test you took. You just said, hey, I'm going to CSP creatively solve this problem. I truly love that. At DC Dental, just share with our audience, because when I grew up in the dentistry world early, there was like 3 companies that sold supplies.
Yeah.
Now a lot of companies are selling supplies. Just in a general orientation, how do people work with you to purchase their dental supplies?
Okay, so if you're brand new to DC Dental, my best recommendation, you could jump on dcdental.com to see who we are. My best recommendation, because we do have some very advantageous arrangements, because you are part of the Nachos community, email nachos@dcdental.com, okay? And just say, hey, I'm Dr. Jones. What's going on with you? What do you got going on with Dental Nachos? I'm curious. So, and we will, we have an advantageous pricing schedule. And just kind of wrap up what I was saying before. I think price is an important topic, which we do cover. And we have a Disney that could use Nachos 20 at checkout to get 20% off here. That's fine. That's all good.
My people love a coupon. My people, I know them well. They love a good coupon.
Yes, Dr. Paul, I'm here to deliver. So Nachos 20 will get you the 20% off. I'm dealing with this in like multiple aspects of my life right now. I think sometimes people just want communication. They just want to know a resource. One of the things about supply companies, my whole concept is more collaboration, less competition. Through the pandemic, I've seen supply companies step up and say, hey, you need help. Go outside of this box and look for other supply companies for your gloves and masks. And we should continue that feeling of collaboration, because we all win when that happens. I love it. You can text DC to 215-543-6454. One of the best things that happened to me during the pandemic was I got to be on my idol's show, Tea with Gary Vee, who has a text community. We do as well. So one of my themes, if it doesn't help, it doesn't matter. This is on the back. If you text help to 215-543-6454, you'll get a time to talk with a Nacho team member about a free strategy call. And they also can connect you to all the business and leadership topping sponsors here. So Michael, I love what you do. I love your story. Love that you're a Seinfeld fan too. That's one of my favorite things. I feel like I have my team's watching. It's kind of like you got the Spare a Square episode, remember, with Elaine and that famous actress. So, can you spare gloves? Can you spare this? So thanks so much for being here, Michael. We really appreciate it. Thank you. What an honor. Appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. So we talked about money. We talked about supplies. Now we're going to bring up our next key resource and sponsor. And this one is so important to me because just yesterday, so I like to infuse a lot of my nacho phrases into stuff. So yesterday, patient looked at me and my assistant and said, I'm completely satisfied with this upper overdenture. I'm so glad I did it. And he actually gave us a real thumbs up sign. That was really, really, really nice. Okay. Because I don't know if you noticed as a dentist, sometimes people not so nice to you. Okay. How did that happen? I had an in-office specialist place the implants and I restored them. And he's ready to do the lower at some point. One phrase that I use is, and you guys can use in your business life is, this is a great phrase. When you have a customer, a client, they're overwhelmed, they're not sure what to do, just say, hey, when you're ready to move forward, we'll be ready to help you. So when you're ready to move forward, we'll be ready to help you. So I have the awesome Darius from Paradental. Darius, tell us your help story, and then we'll dig into what you guys do.
Thanks, Paul. I really appreciate it. This is a great honor to be part of your community. We've had a lot of great success working with you guys. My name is Darius. I'm the co-founder of Paradental. Quick story about how we help dentists. We deliver traveling dental specialists to practice owners and helping them to develop a multidisciplinary approach with an in-house modality.
Awesome.
Many of you have probably heard of the whole in-house specialty concept. We work with specialists and we work with practice owners. So if I may, I'll give you a quick story of how we help both sides. I have an endodontist I've been working with for 6 years. He was in private practice. He just didn't know how to network himself, and build a referral base and nurture it, right? Awesome endodontist. He actually did root canals on my wife. We trust him impeccably as a referral. He was in a financial distress because the amount of cash flow he was generating was just not there, and his home was in jeopardy of being foreclosed.
Wow.
So he actually says to this day that since he met us, we got him up and running in so many of these private, GP offices, working a day or so a month, that it augmented to his income to the point that he's now positive cash flow.
That's awesome.
Right? Yeah. He's a good friend of ours today. And on the practice owner side, there's many benefits here of how we can make their lives easier. First and foremost, once you get in the routine of setting up specialty and you start developing that in-house referral pattern, I call it referring in instead of referring out.
Yeah, Matt, I love that. Right.
Yeah. The specialist basically comes in every fourth Wednesday of the month, or let's say every fourth Friday of the month. So you could take a 3-day vacation or spend some more time with your family. And hands down, specialists, they always will produce more for a practice than a GP would. So monetarily, you're actually making out a lot better that way too. The second, there's a lot of benefits that will make a GP practice owner really just easier as a lifestyle. Second is that when you're referring out a case, and let's say you're referring out an RCT on 18 to the endodontist, the office manager has to communicate from not just your practice as the referring GP, but also from the specialist's practice, all the insurance details, right? Yeah. So patient gets referred out, they max out their insurance, patient comes back for the restorative for the crown, and they start complaining. Hey, I didn't know it was going to be out of network. You were in network this whole time. Why do I have to pay cash for my crown? It's a surprise. And these surprises cause a little bit of distress during the day. When you see a patient unhappy over something like that, it's just not good. Third, which I like to say that it's the liability that you let go of by having a specialist come and do the specialty cases.
What you've shared in these 3 ways are great. And I have had in-house specialists since 2005 because I wanted to make my office like Best Buy. I was a kid from New Jersey. I just loved that Best Buy could sell people CDs. Those were things for people who are under the age of 30. CDs, computers, TVs in the same place. And I also realized, I don't know if you guys noticed, people don't love the dentist. So if they could keep up the momentum in the same place. But what I also share as the relationship-based guy is it doesn't mean that you can't ever work with an outside specialist. What it just means is you can capture more in your office for when it makes sense. So we've had in-house specialists in our office for years, but sometimes somebody wants sedation, we don't do it. Somebody wants to go on a Friday when our endodontist came on a Wednesday. So what you're really doing, Darius, with Pear is so great, and Alex, is you're giving dentists options to increase production in a responsible way. You're incorporating specialists, right? If you talk to specialists, they have challenges too buying a practice, buying into a practice. So maybe this fits into their life for 3 or 4 years and then they move on. So we've had all over the map with that. I just think that's awesome because the thing, as somebody who did a lot of surgical stuff early in my career and really don't anymore, is because you're doing so many other things. It's nice when your periodontist comes in and just does this. So when you called it liability, that's true, because if you're not doing as much of things anymore, it's easier to just have the endodontist do it. And I'm going to guess, Darius, has anybody had brought in a specialist and said they wanted to go back to doing their own endo? Has that ever happened?
I've never had that in 6 years of doing this and the 200 practices we serve. Actually, the most common specialty that's asked for is endo, because let's face it, a GP doesn't want to sit in the chair for an hour and a half and miss a canal, right?
Right. It's one of the challenges there. So, Darius, if people are looking to work more with Pear Dental, they can text Pear to 215-543-6454 on our end. But how can they reach out to you guys directly?
If you're a dentist, I want to talk to you. Please
Awesome.
give me a call. My direct number is 213-805-6282. My email address is Darius, Darius at pairdental.com, PAIR dental.com.
Awesome. And I have to share, as somebody who loves this book called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, you are an awesome connector and you've connected us with great people already. So that's why just reach out and talk to Darius. If you're a specialist looking to go in an office, perfect. If you're a practice owner looking to hire a special, perfect. If you're an associate that may buy a practice, also perfect. And you guys are just so nice, so JBN, Darius. I really appreciate you being part of our team.
Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure. It really is.
Awesome. Thanks, Darius. So as you can see, we just keep layering in toppings. We're going to bring up our next guest here in a minute to see how they help people. One of the most important protection toppings that you can get to set up this team. A year ago, so tomorrow I'm going for my first in-person C lecture in a year. Really, my last one was with one of these awesome people in person. And one of the people at that course said they met Jim and Tyler, or Jim at that, and got disability from them. So that's why in-person C, we need to embrace it again. But this team here, share with us a story of help, a story where, hey, if someone had not crossed paths with what you guys do, they would be in a worse position. We'd love to hear that.
Good to be here, Dr. Goodman. Thank you for having us. I'm going to ask you I just got this message about an hour ago. I don't know if you can.
I can't read it, but I can see. Yeah, the text there. Nice. I like that. The hand always means that something good has happened. So I like that. Or please help me.
So this person, we've been trying to get them approved for disability for 2 years, if you can believe it.
Wow.
And I don't think people realize disability isn't something you just sign up for and poof, you're done.
Right.
It's hard. Normally it's a month, maybe 2. But this person we never gave up on. This morning we finally got him approved and he couldn't be happier. He has little kids, he's got a wife, and it's been this monkey on his back for all these years, and we got it done. So
I mean, people say, how do you sleep at night? I'm always like, well, I'm so exhausted, I just go to bed. But no, I mean, how do you sleep at night as a practice owner, as a dentist, when you have so much stress with, if one thing happens to you, you can't do your profession anymore. And there's been so many poignant, scary stories of dentists who say, I didn't get disability insurance. Now they can't be a dentist. But what's worse is they can't pay their student loans. They can't pay their rent. They're in really challenging situations. Jim, tell us what Doctor's Disability Specialist does. And also if you have a story too, or if you want to share who you met, not the actual person, but you met someone in person, like the olden days, just from a year ago.
So thanks, Paul. Nice to be here with everybody in virtual land. So Doctor's Disability Specialist, we help people with disability insurance, but you kind of stole my thunder a minute ago when you mentioned Malcolm Gladwell, because Tyler and I pride ourselves in being conduits and connectors. Yes, we help with disability insurance, but also, like, I'm so happy to know Dr. Zawadi now, because we literally had a dental school student graduate. They were going to a residency. They were broke. They had gone through all their student loans. I called around to all the bankers I know, and I said, hey, would you do almost like a bridge loan for $10,000 for this resident so they can move to New York City and pay for their apartment until the residency starts kicking in that revenue. And this would have been a great resource for this person had I known him then. So we are excited to be connectors and conduits for our clients. So
I absolutely love that.
First, conduit second.
More options, the better. And that's why I talk about having a friend in your phone. I mean, you guys are friends in my phone. That person is a friend in your phone, Tyler. Creating friends in your phone. I mean, back in the olden days of 2002, we had email, text message. It took 5 minutes to send one text. You had to go to the ABC, DDD, just give up. Now you have Instagram, Facebook, text message, LinkedIn, Clubhouse, TikTok, so many ways to know people. This is the community that we have to connect with. But in a way where I have this guy here, guys, in protecting your core. Okay, when is the right time? Tell me 2 things. I'll ask Tyler first. What's the most ideal time for people to be applying for my first disability insurance policy? So if someone's watching, who are these people?
Somebody made a comment last night on your page that said the day before you're disabled. And I thought that was a good comment, because that's a good time, but we don't know if and when that's going to happen. So because of that, I would say as soon as possible is the right time.
Yeah. And most of the time, the D4 year before it ends is the right one, or if you're in residency. Now, Jim, this is probably a lot of us. could even be me, probably. I've had a disability insurance policy. I haven't looked at it too much. I think I had an increase. I kind of signed up for the increase. Can you guys help people who are 5, 10, 15 years out of school? What's the merit of having your policy looked at again?
By all means. I mean, we just looked at a doctor who's in their mid 50s, and they are woefully underinsured. Now they also are closer to that retirement time.
Yeah.
So the risk to them is less than the 30-year-old, 28-year-old who's, about to embark on a career where they're going to make 6, 8, 10, 12 million dollars in the rest of their career. But yes, we can help anyone review a policy anytime, even if it's just for the information. Maybe they don't act on it or get new coverage, but at least they know.
Also, I mean, I do this for people. So I'm obviously love collaboration with dentists, but I also like people the most. So if someone was 25 years old and they gave me a treatment plan that said they needed 4 quadrants of scaling and root planing, osteosurgery, and 15 points of arrest, and I'd say, I think you should get another opinion, because in my career, I've never had a 25-year-old need that. So to me, it's a problematic treatment plan. I'm not judging the other dentist, but it sounds like in the disability world, things can be all over the map with policies. Is that accurate, Tyler? I mean, people can kind of get a bad taste in their mouth, because it sounded like on that same thread, people had run across some bad policies. Does that happen too?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will go to the people they trust, their friends, their family that did their auto insurance or their home insurance, and it doesn't make that person a bad person or unethical. But if you've only worked with a dentist or 2 or 0, it's so easy to make a mistake and not even know it. And the problem is the client will become the beneficiary of that mistake, and they won't know it for 20 years.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, your new friend, Dr. Z, said it, because he's a physician too. So he's saying that how important, Jim, is own occupation when it comes to disability?
Super important. Yes. So you can maybe become an instructor at the dental school, the medical school in your case, and still collect on the disability plan. Own occupation is very important.
Because and also these other positions, whether you go become a real estate agent, aren't going to pay you what your dental career did. So super important, guys. You can always text DDS to 215-543-6454 to learn more. If you forget all these codes, just do this one. Just text help to 215-543-6454. But Tyler, what's the best way to reach out to you guys directly? Tyler.DeStefano@ddsteam.net, and we'll put it in the chat. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys, for being you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, I know everyone, we've talked about stuff that's like, I don't know if it's that much fun. You need loans, you need this. Now we have the fun guy, okay? Because we're people, this is what dentists love. How do I get patients to come into my office to do the stuff that I was trained to do, the stuff I like? So I wanted this key resource and sponsor I know very well, but I'll let him share his stories of help, and we'll dig into what he does for us.
Hey, Paul, it's great to see you. So when are we going to do an in-person event again? When's that coming?
Phil, we're checking in Philadelphia. This is outside of Philly. It is going to be a socially distanced one, but the team just went yesterday to the Cambria to check. So hopefully soon.
That sounds great. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jamie Dibiase. I'm the owner and chief strategist at Day One. It's my own agency, and we work exclusively with dentists. The easiest way of saying it is we help you figure out who in your audience, who in your target market, who out there needs to hear your message and deliver on that so that you can get more patients coming in. And since the theme is how we help people, I'll give you a specific example. Working with a dentist now for about 2 years. And when we first started with him, I'm just going to call him Mr. Eeyore. Okay. Everything was doom and gloom. Nothing has ever worked. Everything he's ever tried, everybody he's ever worked with never worked. And really what was happening was he was working with so many different companies. None of those companies, the web company, the social media company, even his practice management software, none of those talked to each other. There was no communication. Everything was just kind of siloed. And what ended up happening was, after a while, it just sits there, no improvement, nothing else happening. And to be honest, when we first started working with him, his website was already 7 years old. Wow. So already outdated, there was no way to improve this. So he gave us a shot. I was the best. He said, all right, he didn't use these words yet because you weren't using them yet, Paul, but he just found out what can my company do? What can Jamie do? How can he help us out? So we have designed his website. We do a search engine optimization. We do his social media management. We make his life a lot easier. We're bringing in the number of new patients that he's very happy with on a regular basis. And in fact, after talking with him, the last time I talked with him, at least with me, he's not Mr. Eeyore anymore. He
That's
enjoys
great.
talking with me because he knows that I'm helping him out.
That's the magic, Jamie. I love stories like that. And you really have, I don't know how long you've been in New Jersey, but KB Toy Storage brand has turned that frown upside down. That was their slogan back in the day. And you turned his frown, and that's so magical. That's the part, Jamie, that isn't only about making more money or doing more. It's the heart part of feeling better and also feeling like this does work. I mean, how many of us have been on diets and we thought, oh, it's not going to work, or savings plans or something, or practice a sport. So it's so key when you meet a person who can transform that for you. Now, when Dr. Zawadi was talking, I thought of you, because he said, if our loan is not right for you, we're going to tell you this is better an equipment loan. So I know sometimes dentists, they get in their mind, I need Facebook ads. I need Facebook ads. I need Facebook ads. I don't know if you do Facebook ads. Do you ever have to kind of remanage people's expectations and say, hey, I know that's what you want, but there's actually some other things we should do first. Does that ever happen to you?
Absolutely. It's kind of funny. We deal with what I call the shiny red object syndrome all the time. Whether it's on a Facebook group chat like Nachos or something else, a dentist reaches out to us and said, I saw this, I need this. And so we go through a whole series of asking them why, uncovering what's going on. And sometimes they're right. I'm not going to discount that, but I'll be the first one to tell you that if what you're looking for is unrealistic or is just not something that's going to produce the results you want, or maybe there's other things that have to come into play, I'll be happy to say that right off the bat, because even when we begin working with people, one of the things that we do is we give people 30 days to break up a marriage with us. 30 days risk-free. We want to make sure that you're absolutely pleased with what's going on, but we also use it as an opportunity to make sure that every dentist we're working with is aware of why we're doing things, how come we're doing it, what the results are going to be, so that those shiny red objects, when they pop up, they'll understand why we're not doing them, or in some cases why we might make them part of the program.
I think that's so key. You work with us personally, Jamie. You're as classy and kind as they come. Thanks for being so great to all of us. You can text Day One to 215-543-6454 on our end. But if someone's watching and they say, I am going to find out about marketing, I want to find out about how I can share my story online more, like you help us do, how can they reach out to you directly?
Sure. Thanks for asking. So the best way to do that is to schedule a time with me, and you can do that at dentalmarketingdoneright.com/nachos. We created a special page for all our nacho friends. We want to make sure we know that you're coming from Nachos, so make sure you fill that information out. So it's dentalmarketingdoneright.com/nachos, or you can call me directly at 856-245-5817.
And I love that. And you teach people just like Jim and Tyler, just like Dr. Z, just like Perdell, just like Daniel. Just you learn more about the industry when you talk to people who are doing it every day. And like they said, yeah, maybe $5,000 a month of Instagram ads is not right if you don't have a good website yet. So thanks, Jamie. Really appreciate it. Being part of our community, just truly awesome.
Thanks, Paul. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye.
Me too. People who are here watching it on Zoom, we have special prizes for you watching it on Zoom. So Nacho Team will give you special free stuff. You're my dentist people. I know you love free stuff, literally your favorite thing. So we're going to bring up our next key resource and sponsor. And I'm going to ask him before we dive into what he does is share a story of help. A dentist that, hey, said, hey, I'm so glad I crossed paths with you.
Yeah. Dr. Nacho, good to see you again. So I was thinking about this because there's so many different ways that we've been able to help clients. One of them was a doctor came to me, he was fee for service, and he had been a little slow. So maybe he needed to talk to Jamie from a marketing perspective. And so one day he got a fax on the faxed fee schedule over, and he decided to join the plan. Told the office, go ahead and sign up for this. Didn't know that this insurance company had all these tentacles, all these partnerships to get in network. And so he took this beautiful fee for service practice. Basically, they were only in Delta Dental. And then 6 months later, he was in every network under the sun. And he said, I don't know what I've done. I just destroyed my practice. Can you help me with that? And so we were able to go in and assess what happened and what the impact was and how best for him to maneuver back into a position where he was more excited about coming to work. So lots of stuff with insurance.
I love that, Nick. And also, I just want to kind of pause because maybe it will help someone. Like, that's so dentist in not a good way, right? And I understand the impetus, but just pause. And this would not happen in other business worlds where people talk to each other. But when you're the Lone Ranger, the king of the castle, the Ned Stark of your world, hopefully people get those references, or the crown, the queen of your castle, you don't hear from outside your castle. And people would be like, hey, I mean, I know that, right? I didn't know that as a young dentist, but now I know that. And I would not have done that from learning. But if you don't know, you can contaminate your entire practice. So now, Nick, share what does your company do and how does it help dentists be more successful and less stressed out?
Yeah, so we help dentists, dental practices, basically develop an insurance participation plan, right? So there's many different PPO options. They're very complicated. They change all the time. So we help you develop a plan, and that plan is built based around your goals for your practice, whether that's retire early or work less or prepare for a new associate or build out the operatory or buy a second practice. So we tailor the plan to your goals, your practice, your market, and then we negotiate reimbursements. We do the credentialing, all that stuff to take care of it so that the plan's implemented and then manage it on a go-forward basis.
And it's so key because working with dental insurance reminds me of playing a game with my 6-year-old. Home base turns into jail. No one told me, right? So they will just change the rules, right? Now you have to 10 jumping jacks before a crown. No one has told you that, right? So I love that Five Lakes does that. And it's really one of the most responsible things you can do, whether you're fee for service, PPO, DMO, everything. Patients ask about insurance daily, right? Ask about insurance daily. Team asks about it. You can get all turned around with these crazy plans. I mean, I just saw there's a lot of people in the dental nachos world and outside that world are just very knowledgeable about insurance as dentists. It's kind of like people knowledgeable about fixing cars, and they say, this group just dropped this one over here, right? Like they're on some special network. And, you know, that's what you guys are kind of like the people on the front lines of this insurance. I don't know if you want to call it like 911 stuff. So if someone's watching now and they're saying like, hey, I probably should look into my insurance plans. I should see what makes sense. I don't want to be like the dentist that Nick described. What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, so certainly go online. Appreciate that. Our website is fivelakespro.com and then /nachos, or you can send us an email, sales@fivelakespro.com.
Awesome. And I also want to share, I was at the gym this morning, and I don't know, it's kind of crazy. People had different sneakers on. Some people had Nike, some people had New Balance. And in this world, there's different players. But of all the people that I've talked to, they've always been happy to connect with the Five Lakes, Nick, right? I mean, they've always said, I wish I had done this sooner. So don't be like the patient that let something go for so long when you missed out on years of making more money by doing the same procedures. So I really appreciate you guys being here. You guys can text Five Lakes to 215-543-6454. Looking into your insurance fees and how that works is one of the most important topics you can do as a dentist. Thanks so much, Nick.
Thanks.
All right, guys, now we're going to bring up our next key resource and sponsor, another super fun one, very dentist, what dentists love. So we'll bring up our next key resource. I don't want to ruin the fun surprise for everybody. Because he has, you should have one in your back. You should just have them surrounded in your background. People would always pay attention to you, Nathan. But Nathan, tell us a story of help, then we'll dig into the nacho plate of what Renew Digital does.
Yeah, so we specialize in, we try to keep things green with allowing doctors to trade in a totally perfect working, 2D or 3D machine to be able to acquire either a new one or a certified pre-owned one through us.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And now tell me about, we've had some good conversation on the group. So the 3D X-ray, which we've incorporated recently into our office, I wish I'd done it sooner-ish, but thrilled to have it now. So maybe, walk me through, okay, maybe my machine, I decide I want a different machine. I can contact Renew Digital and you guys can figure out how to resell it. Walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so what happens in these situations is sometimes your procedure mix grows or you need a larger field of view or you've been meaning to do this, as you had mentioned, then what we do is based off of your make and model, we'll make you an offer on that system so that you can either trade up and trade in with us or a distributor. So try to make it easy.
I love the pre-owned example because, everyone has different budgets at different times in their life for buying cars. Same thing goes for CVCTs, could go for other practices. So can you think back, are there dentists who said, I'm so glad I contacted Renew Digital. I literally saved $20,000 just by looking into it. You guys have some success stories like that.
Yeah, no question. And we have doctors, sometimes doctors have not little, but fiefdoms where they're managing 5 practices and they're like, hey, Nate, I bought my first 3 cone beams from manufacturer X, and I bought my last 2 from you guys and you guys have been great and your remote support is off the charts. Like, how do I move my other machines into your remote support? So that's a strong compliment. So
I love that. I don't call them fiefdoms. Just call them multiple circuses where the animals don't try to eat you, just slowly annoy you to death. I went off on July 4th. The giraffe had off last time. Neither of you guys get off. So I love that, Nathan. You guys bring fun. CBCT technology has transformed our office in a fun way, a productive way. If people are saying, hey, I want a second CBCT, it's my first one, or I just want to learn more about what you guys do, how can they reach out to you guys to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can call in direct or go to our website, renewdigital.com, or you can send an email to dentalnachos@renewdigital.com, and we would be happy to assist you. Sometimes you just want to know, like, hey, I'm going to just kick some tires for a minute. Yeah. That's okay. We sell all the major brands, and each one is specific to procedures provided. So we just want to make sure to put you in the right spot.
And yeah, I want to say one more thing. I love you sharing that. You can text Renew to 215-543-6454. But all these things, and this is such a great theme of this entire show, right move, right time for the right dentist, right? You might bring in a specialist like Darius talked about, and now you have a true need, right? I mean, you might have a need before that. Everyone can use one. But if you bring in an endodontist, a periodontist, an oral surgeon, now you have a great reason to reach out to a company like Renew. So thanks so much for being here, Nathan. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
So as we keep rolling along for this super fun show, Toppings, Business Leadership Toppings, A Story of Help, we're going to bring up one of my favorite people in the dental world next, not just because he compliments me on the food I select for CE courses, but what we're going to do is talk about one of my favorite things. So everything that matters needs a system, and everything matters is my favorite quote, and make the best decision in the moment. So we just had Nick talking about dental insurance because offices use dental insurance. Like my office, good example, me, guy in blue sweater. But also I use an in-house membership club for people that might not have dental insurance, may have lost their dental insurance during the pandemic. So I want to welcome Tom Camarota, who's been on Nacho TV many times. But Tom, if you could share a story of help, that would be awesome. And then we'll dig into what you guys do. Yeah, I think you're still muted there, Tom.
Oh, unmute myself. I thought I was waiting for you to unmute me. Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah, so what we do is we help dentists start up their own membership savings plan, and we also help them sell products to their patients. So we do a number of things. But one of the most interesting things that I've heard in the last couple of months is when a dentist told me that they had just recently gotten a letter, and this was in the summer of COVID, basically, and they had just gotten a letter from their insurance company saying, hey, we're going to decrease our reimbursement rates to you. They had worked with this insurance company for many, many years. And, so then that kind of got them to the point where, I'm going to go and look back at my books for the past couple of years. And they looked back and they couldn't believe in the past 5 or 10 years, they had millions upon millions of dollars in write-offs to these insurance companies. And at that point, he's just like, I've had it.
It's like when the restaurants put the calories on the menu, like, well, now you've ruined it. I'm not getting But what happens is instead of your appetizer, it's your business. And that's such a good point because, it's not so nuts to me that insurance companies are like, hey, we're going to pay you less than we did last year. Is that cool? If you said to your spouse, I'm going to love you less than last year, they would get very upset. But we are sometimes feel bonded to these insurance companies in a toxic way. And what Nick shared and what I would share is I've done fee negotiation. So I keep ones that are not spoiled guac PPO, but then you're able to remove ones from your plate that are, and you can we use Tom's in-house membership club. It's phenomenal. I love when I get the email saying someone has signed up for it. So an in-house membership club to me is just a nacho brainer, but I also want you to share, Tom, about your online store. Tell us how that works.
So the online store is really cool because basically you don't have to carry any inventory anymore. So if you want to offer the latest toothbrush, toothpaste, whatever it is, you don't have to go out and buy that, spend that money. You don't have to take up office space. You don't have to let it go to waste and expire. You could basically just turn it on your store. Hey, I want to offer this, and boom, it's offered to your patients. And then your patients could order it, it'll arrive the next day or two. It's basically like your own mini Amazon empire, basically. Is what you're doing.
That's wonderful because, Tom, I want to jump in. I've always been entrepreneurial, not a surprise to most people watching. So back in the day, I said, hey, Dad, let's buy these electric toothbrushes for $100 and sell them for $125. And we had these boxes, and then we sold like 2 of the 10. So that cost us money. Now in this online store, even though there's an opportunity for the office to make a small profit, that's not really why. I do it as a service to patients. I get notifications, people get it. I want them to feel comfortable. But tell us, you told me one of my favorite phrases, escalation of commitment. How does escalation of commitment help us as dentists with an online store?
Yeah, and that was one of the most interesting things we actually found out from the data that we looked at. It's not so much about the money that you're making, but it's the money that you will make, and it's about retaining those patients. And so we found out that the patients who are actually purchasing more products, $5, $10 tube of toothpaste or whatever it was, even a $50 toothbrush, you don't think very much of it. But what it does is it creates that little small commitment, that micro commitment, so to speak, to your brand and to your service. And so then when it comes time for those bigger commitments, like, hey, you coming to an appointment, or, hey, I need to get a crown or an implant, they're more than willing to make those bigger commitments because they've already made a series of smaller commitments to you. And that's really the best explanation to it. And psychologically proven, I mean, studies going way back. It's basically very similar to the gambling stuff, you know, but less so.
Yeah, and in a positive way, because, you know, it's just people, you want people to be healthy. You want to sell help to them, right? We should be proud to sell help in whatever form it is, right? Dental schools made us so weird. They charge $500,000, but then don't talk about money. Maybe they should. They got us to pay the $500. So why we don't make this is proud to sell help, proud to move people forward, make things more fun. So an in-house member, literally the in-house membership club concept has been one of the best things I've done. And Tom, you're such a gracious sponsor. You're saying, hey, at least do something, right? At least incorporate this in some way. We use Tom's program for this and the online store. Tom, people can text club to 215-543-6454 to learn more about you. But if they want to reach out directly, how can they do that? Sure.
They could just go to dentalstores.com/dentalnachos. And we'll even have a special discount there for you. As well, you can give us a call, 1-800-746-7657, or you can email sales@dentalstores.com.
Awesome. You will not regret in looking into just finding out about that. So Tom, you stay on with me. What this is we've had 8 awesome business and leadership topics. Everybody who was on the show, if you're still here, you can turn on your video because we're going to do a fun roundtable. You know, what I like to do is here, look, in just an hour, we delivered so much business, communication, thinking, knowledge, which should be in dental school. I don't know why it's not, right? The Krebs cycle has not helped me out of one jam in my life. Signing up for a bad insurance plan, which I've done, has caused me a lot of grief. So whoever's here, what I like to ask, and I love to bring people together for people who are still here, share with us. And if you're still here, you want to turn on your camera and I'll go around and ask you, you're welcome to. All I'm going to ask you is nothing about you. What's one thing, what's one thing you learned that didn't exist before being on this show? Or what's one thing you think, man, I would like to tell my client about this over there. So nothing about what you do, or just a good point you thought was made. So someone who I know is easy, who probably has 10 points, will take his top one. Jamie Dibiase, I'll start with you. What's something that you learned by being on this show and you said, I didn't even know that existed, this would help a client? Give us one of your one things.
Well, I'm actually going to go what Tom, something that he said about the making those small decisions that lead to larger decisions. So it was just the mindset of why we do things. I mean, that's what's really important is helping people understand why we do things and how they connect to the bigger picture. You're helping patients. I hadn't really considered it. I thought of it just as more of a like a profit center, not so much how is this going to lead to increasing commitment levels from patients. So that was what I learned.
Yeah, I found it's pretty amazing. Once you try something, people are buying toothpaste at 2:00 in the morning from Tom's store. I'm like, this is an unusual time for you to be buying toothpaste, but I'm glad you're thinking about it. One time it was my own sister. So, my own sister who's used to getting free stuff, bought some stuff from Tom because it was convenient. And this is like another super important point. Convenience is so important, oftentimes more than cost, right? Cost is different. Have you ever bought a $5 bottle of water somewhere when you could get it for 50 cents? I have, because I needed it at that time. And that's why I just want to infuse into your dental space. It's important to worry about cost, but also it's more important to worry about how you grow, how you connect with patients. Dr. Zawadi, I don't want anyone to miss their pain appointment. So you can go next. Thanks for hanging in here. This is the first time you're part of a show like this. Thanks for being here. Share with us something that you learned from the group here.
Hey, I saw 2 patients in between the call with my
Awesome.
earbud in, so it was my shots take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think Darius is a company. I had no idea that in the dental world you can get a specialist into a generalist's office, have it well incorporated in there. And so when I go to the dentist and I want to get something specialized done, that the person that I'm seeing in there is not really a part of that practice organically, and it's more of a peer dental kind of a relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything similar in my world. I think we're a lot more territorial and would not allow another professional to come into our offices like that. But I think it's super cool, and I can see the synergy and opportunities in doing something like that.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing that. Really appreciate it. It's been one of the best things I've ever done in my practice to incorporate. And also, I mean, it's actually just nice to have other licensed dental professionals. My team is awesome. Jamie knows my team. Ariel's part of my team, but sometimes I catch like, oh, hey, that filling, we got to bill it out differently. And Kate will go, thanks. I say, oh, can you help me with my filling now over here? And she goes, that's illegal. So it's just an aspect of having, like, if you're a parent, it's kind of like having another parent around that you can bond with. There's just some and vent to. So really great. Thanks so much, Dr. Zawadi. Jim, I'll go to you next.
Well, I learned that Jill doesn't sleep very well, apparently.
Yeah, right. She's up late.
There you go. Well, you're overworking her, Paul. That's
Yeah.
the problem. So I really was happy to hear about Dr. Zawadi's program. So I'll be connecting with him separately. We'll be connecting with him separately.
And I think I'm a fun guy, but also like JBR, just be real, because people like you and Tyler, other people do too, but people like you and Tyler hear some of the tough stories in people's lives. People feel the disability leads to, I don't have money to move. I have this, it's probably not going to talk with Jamie as much about that stuff. They might. So it's just the right advisor or friend at the right time to get the right answer for. I mean, so I talk about, whether it's fertility treatment, private school, different things that people do, these sometimes people don't feel as comfortable sharing these things with people I know, but when they develop a relationship with a disability insurance specialist, you also can lead them to other great stuff. So thanks so much there. Nathan, I'll go to you next. First time on business and leadership toppings. What was something you learned from one of the other panelists? I think I'm still muted there, Nathan. Sorry. I might have to unmute you there, I think.
Oh, Nathan, you just have to unmute you. There we go.
All right. So Dr. Zawadi's offering, incredible. I've done over 400 startups in a prior life and now. And so a lot of the startups need that. But in addition to needing Dr. Zawadi's funds, if you will, Nick Partridge does a sensational job. I've worked with multiple doctors that have increased their take-home pay thousands of dollars for utilizing his service. He and his team are extraordinary. So
I love that. I always think, Nick, your guys' value proposition should be like, would you like to take calories out of your food and still enjoy your same food? That's what we do, right? Because that's what I would like, right? I never have to lose weight. I got to eat some stuff that tastes terrible. So I love that. Tyler, I'll go to you next.
Well, Dr. Zawadi's getting a lot of love here. I think, this is the first time I've heard about your group and what you're doing. I'll tell you, I think graduating students, they have to make these really important life decisions. And it's sort of they're making decisions sometimes not in the scope of what's best for them, but they're in a financial position of weakness. And I see it as working capital for life. When you first
That's a great way to put it.
You need capital. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's
and it's oftentimes, and this is why I like sharing, I meant to say that's what Tyler said the other day. It's like working capital for life, which is resonates with dentists, because we need working capital for our practices. And it doesn't matter if it's 6% or 9% when you need something. I authentically will share, during this pandemic, I was worried in the beginning, prior to the PPP, of how our both offices would handle payroll. And, while I had savings that I did wind up putting into stuff, but it's just great to have access to capital when you need it and access to stuff, which is what all of these sponsors do in one way or another. But I think the reason it's resonating is because we've all dealt with dentists that have just had so many financial challenges at different times in their career, and they wish they had that in case of emergency break glass.
Can I say one more thing, Paul?
Sure.
So life isn't as simple, or money isn't just as simple as math. If it was, everybody would get it right every time. Life is unpredictable. There'll be good things and bad things. And I think that's the way I see it as well.
I totally believe that. So thanks, Tyler. Nick, I'll go to you. It's your first time here on Business and Leadership Topping. Sorry, the rest of your day's downhill after all this fun. I know that's what happens when people spend time with me. My team, I'm going to a trip. They're like, I don't know how we're going to do it without you. But no, I'm just joking. They're thrilled I won't be around tomorrow. But tell us, Nick, what's something that you learned from one of the other panelists here?
Yeah, this was great. This was really great. You know, I learned a ton. It's great to see everybody and learn about it. I like this saying about you need disability the day before you need it. That really resonated with me, you know, about kind of really thinking long and hard about where to make investments in your life, not only just your practice. So I thought that was really that's a point that you can walk away from this and say, oh yeah, like that's super, super important. So I really like that. That stuck.
And what is so crazy as we're all talking about this, dental schools should be having discussions about this throughout. If they care about their students, they should be bringing in multiple companies to learn about this instead of weirdly hiding the people who can help in a corner after school. And sometimes it's too late. I mean, there's things that have happened during this pandemic that have been so poignant for people's lives, where if they had learned this. And then I had another story of a dentist who reached out to me who said, if I didn't get my disability insurance in dental school years ago, I wouldn't be able to support my family right now. And it was because somehow an insurance agent was able to come in and share their secret help, and he signed up and he was able to support his family. So my hope is some of this thinking just starts to trickle down to the newest people in our profession, because it's so important. Thanks so much.
I hate to say it, Paul, but sometimes we actually do have claims as well.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah. So it's in dental school, you have claims like that. I see that. Darius, how about you?
You know, coming from a background as a supply rep, when I used to own my dental supply company, I really understood where Michael was coming from with the tetracycline example, where he went the extra mile for that doctor. Yeah. I think we you know, being in the industry that we are as vendors, we need to always think like, how could we go the extra mile for our docs, because that's what really makes a difference for their lifestyle, I think.
It's so crazy. I mean, I just like doing this, but like I do this for my patients by recommending TV shows. I'm like, you ever see Lupin? They're like, no. I'm like, well, now you have 6 hours of amazing fun. So if you haven't seen Lupin, now your life's gonna be better. Because I said, have you ever seen Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? You know, so whenever you can do these small things for people, I mean, it's the part of life that's great anyway, but it also just helps build relationships with people. So I think as a supply rep, you know, supply reps have never had it easy, right? Because everyone's always like wants it free. They think you're being ripped off, right? You know, so it's, I know that's a really great point there. We'll wrap up with you, Tom. You've been on many of these shows, like Jamie and some of the people here in Jim. Anything new that you learned from the group?
Yeah, actually, I learned a couple of things new. I was really surprised at what Nick said about the one insurance company who had all these tentacles out there. So that was very, very surprising that could happen. And I was actually surprised at what Nathan had to say about how he renews machinery. Basically, you could basically recycle your old machinery and basically upgrade it. So I didn't know that occurred. So it's great for the environment and great for him and his clients.
I love that. I think it was Jamie Amos came to a group. He's a great guy. And he said, whenever I go to Paul's things, I learn I didn't even know that thing was a thing. And that is everything to me. For whether you're a business person in dentistry, whether you're a dentist, it's just so great to know that thing was a thing so that you can help more people and do it yourself. So I'm thrilled that you guys were part of this. Thanks so much. Feel free to drop back and leave anything you want in the chat for our people watching in. And we'll see you guys on the next show. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks again, Paul.
Thanks everybody.
So that is wrapping up our show. I want to say to you guys, this is our theme. If it does not help, it does not matter. If you're watching this live, you're watching this on demand, you're watching it when it goes viral, whatever that means, you can just text help to 215-543-6454. One of the Nacho team members will be glad to talk with you about a strategy call, buying a practice, selling a practice, finding a job, hiring an associate, or if you're just freaking out about something, they're super nice people, not nearly as crazy as me, and they will talk to you, give you some advice, and figure out what you could do next or get you to the right person to do that. So thanks, Nacho team, for supporting me. I'm going to stop my video. You can leave the chat on for a little bit. We'll see you at the next Business and Leadership Toppings.